Hi guys. We are back for episode 2 of Leather Lark by Bryn Weaver. We read chapters 8 to 18, and let me personally apologize for randomly choosing 18. I'm upset at myself. I don't think Elena and Jamie will forgive me. And if you stopped, honestly, like I kind of wish that you had just read 19 so you could crawl into this and tell us what happened, because I wish I knew. I really wish I knew. What a spicy cliffhanger.
They're in love now.
They're so in love now, but we can't jump right to the end. We've got to talk about stuff before we talk about that scene. Otherwise, we'll just talk about that for 30 to 60 minutes, and that's all the content you'll get from us in this entire episode. Um, so yeah, back to around the chapter 8 area where they really hated each other, or I guess we're doing a better job of banjangst, right, was what it was
Yeah.
called. Yeah,
What is
for
that
anyone.
again?
So I think it's like an Irish slang term for like all fucked up. Like it
Oh,
got
okay.
banjanxed. Lachlan uses it, but yeah. So we read from banjanxed to through Spotlight, um, which you now have burned into your mind if you're reading along with us. But
It's all I can think
yes, literally cannot wait until this episode is over so I can keep reading. So honestly, you know what? If you feel the same way, just go read 19 and then come back so you can fully enjoy this episode. But so yeah, I know that at the end of the last episode, Elena started live reading the next chapter for us because we somehow correctly guessed that Lachlan, who's not doing such a great job at being a fake husband, went and texted Sloane and Rowan to get some insider information, which didn't really go his way. But oh my goodness, the different like iterations of him like texting with Sloane and whatnot, just like throughout this section, I loved. I thought it was so cute and just like such a fun little way to show their relationship, because I personally thought Lachlan reaches out to Sloane's gonna help a brother out. Oh no. Not at all. I was laughing out loud. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I loved it.
So good. Elena, was it everything you wanted it to be?
I mean, yeah, I read it.
Oh, good. Even like I think like Sloane and Lark's conversations too. Like I really liked the use of the texting conversations in this section. I thought that they were really good.
Yeah, I love that like
Um,
one was included too.
yeah. Yeah, Rowan jumping in. Oh my goodness. I will always remember like guard your eyes, repeat, like guard your eyes. Like yeah. Yeah, she's coming for you. Um do we want to jump right into Sloane? What do you guys want? Do we want to jump into Sloane, Larkin, like what do we how where do we even start?
We can keep saying how like no, she gave him the one tip was to read a romance book, and he did.
Oh my god.
Dead.
It was so good. I will say though, reading that scene, at first I was like, oh my god, did Abe like get a microphone into the car? Because the first line is like, I've been watching you. And I was like so creeped out for a second. And then I like read the next few lines and I was like, no, this doesn't make sense.
I knew what it was immediately, and has this never happened to you guys? Like that your audiobook just like comes on in the car when like your mom is sitting in the passenger seat and you just like thank all of the deities that exist and don't exist, that it was like a totally fine sentence that popped up. Like, oh yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
happened a
funny enough,
bunch.
I was also listening to this audio because I'm doing audiobook and the
Mhm.
physical read. So I didn't have like that same experience Alina did, but I did have like, oh, I've gone through that before.
Oh yeah.
Where
Yeah.
the audiobook just like plays in the car, but I love how it all went down.
So funny. And honestly, like that is like one of the last instances we have, but this entire section I loved the things that he is doing to try to show her how much he cares. And I just like my heart just kept melting. I thought that it was reforming multiple times and then it was just a puddle again.
Yeah, it
The
was just like
sleeper
little
tree.
things.
The sleeper tree.
The sleep retreat, like him, finally apologizing, which, we see how he just didn't want to bring it up again because he thought it would be traumatic for her, but she's really waiting for him to apologize. And then him saying that like he wants this to work. Like he's really coming on very strong and like he says like for no matter how long this lasts, like I want it to work. I don't want you to regret it. But it's like, oh, my guy, like we all know how long you want this to last. And just like the little things and like the sleep retreat is so cute. And then all of a sudden when he's like, hey, come on outside, I'm like, what are we, oh my, are we really? Like he's not only is he like, it's okay that you're a serial killer, he's like, here's this asshole, I would like you
Not a serial
to,
killer.
sorry, multiple deleter. Like, oh my goodness. How did you guys feel about his reaction to finding her stash of DIY bedazzled body parts? And then like how his whole reaction to her letting him know that she is a multiple deleter, in fact.
I loved it. It made me so happy. Also, like just the scene where he like opens the maraca and is like, "That's what I thought it was gonna be," and somehow I'm still surprised.
I just so picture his face going, what is this? And she's like, a coaster. He's like, excuse me, ma'am. I work with leather. This is not just a coaster.
It just keeps getting more and more like not accusatory, but like damning.
The snow globe. The snow globe. Like, look, is this a finger? Shake it up. There's snowflakes. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. Wow. I thought that it was great because we've kind of realized that Lachlan does do a lot of murder, but not for himself. So I really wasn't sure how he was gonna take it. Like I knew it would end up well, but I thought that he was very even keeled through the like, please explain the body parts crafts. To the point where he just like fully embraced it and was like, yeah, here's this asshole that was instrumental in the trauma that you suffered as a child. Do what you will with him, and here are all of your crafting supplies to do it with.
Yeah, I love that. So he's not good with words, but this is his way of showing like he's accepting who she is
Hmm.
and that he's okay with it by gifting her this multiple deleting opportunity.
Yeah.
I also thought that scene was hilarious when Lark was like, only 4. And then like she slowly works her way up to 10.
Yeah, and he's shocked at the first number, and she's like, okay, like 6. Like 7? Okay, 10.
8?
Oh my goodness. At the end of the scene, after Lark has disposed of the I don't know if he was he like the headmaster, like the principal or whatever, the head of the school
Oh,
that she was abused at. Yeah. Um Lachlan takes something. Like he says that he took a trophy. So I am assuming he took a piece of the guy to do something with. But we still don't know what that was. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Didn't he give her a present? Am
He
I but we don't know what it is?
he did. So he made the harness for her. And
Oh, that was it.
at first I thought it was going to be like the body part thing. But I feel like if it was made out of the dude's skin, he would have told like that would have come up in the presenting of the gift. So I feel like there's another thing coming. And but I don't know. Like did you have any thoughts on that? Oh.
No.
honestly, I think I did the audiobook for that scene and I don't remember him picking something up.
He just talks about like he brings out the grinder and then talks about like I had taken my trophy. Just like, what did you take? Do we
What do you
think
think
that?
it is?
No, I don't know. I don't know. But it like goes into then him crafting, which I thought was him, like he was going to craft her something out of a piece of this guy, because that's what she does. She takes
Yeah.
pieces of the people she kills and turns it into adorable DIY
I
crafts.
know he did the stars on the harness, the leather
Yeah.
harness. So maybe there was something there and I missed it. I'm not sure.
Or is it made out of the headmaster's skin and that's gonna come up later?
No,
that
there's no way.
Guys, how can we be so vehement saying no?
I think it would take too long. Like, I don't think you just like take skin and get like, isn't it a process?
That's fair. Like the curing that would need to go into that in order. Okay, you're right, Elena. You're right. We weren't thinking about the process of curing the human leather before you could make it into a sexy harness for your girlfriend, wife, person. Wow, this section was fantastic. Just the little pieces that were in there. Even like, you know, him reading to her over the phone, him like watching her favorite movie and just like really going out of his way to
like 12
show
times
her.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. Also as a huge Keanu fan, I'm surprised I haven't seen Constantine and I'm going to need to watch that. Have you seen it, Jamie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just have not gotten around to it. It's been on my list though. And then because they mentioned Constantine in the first book, and I was like, oh, I really need to watch that. But now I really need to watch it.
And then you also need to do the audiobook because in the audiobook he tries to do like his best like Keanu Constantine voice.
Yeah.
So cute.
Oh, I bet. I bet. Oh my goodness. Anything else about their relationship in particular that you guys like super loved?
I do want to see the scene where he figures out there's a person in the table, because like he did find all of her um trophies, but like they're so small, and I just feel like realizing that there's a full body in the table is gonna be hilarious.
Yeah. And I know that we talked about this after the episode when I had thought that maybe he would find out that she is a multiple deleter by them maybe using the table as a second bed source. And potentially the table breaking, since we've sort of seen that the table may not be as sturdy as we thought it was. But he knows now, so that's definitely not the way that he finds out. But do we still think that there's room for using the table in creative relationship ways in which Lark will just be like, ah, yes, you know, number 9 is currently in the table.
Or should we like,
Much.
no, let's not do it on this table.
It's too close to the guy that is entombed in it.
It's too sentimental.
Yeah, like it has to come up eventually, right? Like he has to know that there's a body in his coffee table.
It has to.
He has to. Like, he even like questioned it at first. He was like, "This table you just made has sentimental value," and she was like, "Yeah."
Right. Like even if it's at some point they're just like sipping their Americanos, like using the table to put their cups on, and she's talking about like, oh yeah, the sentimental value of this, and it like clicks, and he's like, what's in the table?
It's a really good theory.
Who's in the table?
Well, right, because he makes a comment too about like, did this table really need to be this big? And maybe at some point he's just like, oh, okay, wow, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what'll happen. I feel like I have ideas about what's happening in the next chapter because I feel like there's only like one option for the next chapter.
There's
For-
only one way for it to go. Like,
There's-
there's clearly a
there's
setup there.
there's only one way the next chapter goes. Possibly the next 2 chapters. Am I excited to see how they go? Absolutely. Yes, I am. Was that what you guys were expecting for him to open while he's watching her performance? Because it wasn't even on my top 5 guesses, honestly.
It's so funny because like the emotions that I was going through reading that chapter did not lead me there. Because like I don't know if you well, so I when I got to the song, I was doing the audiobook and I didn't quite love the way the narrator was singing it. So I'm like, wait a minute, let me check the playlist. That song was on there. So I did like both the audiobook and the song at the same time. And it just kind of like really put me in that scene being Lachlan and listening to her sing that song to him.
Mhm.
And I like almost shed a tear because it was just so beautiful.
It is. It's really, really heartfelt. Like even me
Yeah.
just like reading the lyrics, I was like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, like this is so
And like
gorgeous.
I was starting to get a little frustrated because I was just like, well, why can't you just forgive him? You know? And like how can you do it? And I love how she did it through her music, through her song. I just love how it played out.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't expect it to take such a sexy turn, like immediately. But I also was guessing that the like, is it just like a piece of paper in the box that's like, I forgive you, like, can't wait to see you later at night, like wink. Or like, I knew we were going in that direction. I just did not I didn't picture where it went.
In a shocking turn of events, I accidentally saw the last page of the chapter. So,
Were you
Like,
confused?
no, I it was nighttime and I was tired and I was like, how long is this chapter? Let me
Oh.
go to the last page and see. And I saw the like buttons where he's like pressing it up. Like I saw that line and I was like, there's only one thing that can be. I guess I'm reading this chapter.
You're like, this is happening. This is happening. I didn't hate it, I will say. I was just surprised. I was like, oh damn. Like, yeah, no, that went right over my head that that was honestly even an option. But I was like, I mean, you know
right.
what? Sure. Let's do it. Let's do it. Um, yeah, I'm glad that we're finally past the point of I need you to forgive me before we can be together. Like, thank you, Lark. Thank you for finally verbally forgiving him. Yeah.
Can I just say I I didn't like really become obsessed or really love it going in as I was with Butcher and Blackburn. And I don't know if anyone else has felt that way. But I didn't have like that instant like connection. You know what I mean? So yeah, if anyone else feels that way, let me know. But I think around this section is when I really like, oh now I'm getting it. Like now I'm really loving Lark and Lachlan together. Whereas I kind of like Lachlan more than Lark when I first started. But now it's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for them.
I feel similarly. I think I
Okay.
was actually going to text you guys and be like, do I think that I like this book more than Butcher and Blackbird because it's the current one that I'm reading? Or is there something about it? And I feel the same way that you do, Jamie, is that at the beginning, I feel like I didn't love it as much. And I think for me, it was that they weren't good. Like they weren't okay together. Whereas,
Mm-hmm.
like at the beginning of Butcher and Blackbird, they immediately are just like, oh yeah, we're into each other. And like they also take their slow burn path, but it's not the enemies to lovers. It's like, oh, it's like the friendly, competitive serial killers to lovers. So it was less painful for me, at least, like to
Yeah.
read that than to read this, where it was just like, why do you guys hate each other? Like, I know why you hate each other, but like, why are we doing this? Like, come on.
Yeah, like I just
So,
had like a tough time connecting with Lark.
mm, well, she's very walled off and like for good reasons, but there is like you don't get her real personality. She's just like very mean to him and, just like making all sorts of, I hate you comments. And I was just like, this is sad.
I did really like their brunch because I feel like that was one of the first moments that they were really working together.
Mhm.
And like I feel like that was a turning point for them where they were like, "Oh, Lark's family, we need to be a united front."
Did brunch go the way that you guys thought it would? Like, I know we talked about it a little bit, but I personally, when they walked in and they were like, my husband. I thought that they already knew. And the fact that they didn't even know before they showed up for brunch to me, and I don't know if I just missed something, but that was unhinged. I was like, you're just showing up being like, and I'm married. What?
Yeah, it's I didn't expect it. I just was like, "Oh, that was a choice, girly. You do you." Also, Evelyn? Is her name
Ava?
No,
Eva?
what's the aunt's
Ethel.
name? Ethel was living for it.
Yes. You're right,
She
Brooke.
is she is still my favorite character. Like this woman, oh my goodness. During brunch, she is a beautiful firecracker. Again, like she keeps up the whole like she knows that Lachlan and Lark are meant for each other. And just like her little comments, like when she pretends to be asleep and Lark comes back into her room in the nursing home and she's like, "Why are you back?" And she's like, "Because I've got stuff to do." And she's like, "Go, get out, like go make out with your husband." Like,
Also, drugging the muffins is a queen move.
oh my goodness. And the fact that Leander was like into it, like that, because I was afraid, like, what is this guy's reaction going to be when he wakes up? But I love that he was like, oh, got bested by a muffin in my own house. Like, okay, maybe I don't think he's redeemable, but maybe he doesn't need to die. I'm still on the fence, but
Yeah, like I'm still worried that he's still gonna retaliate somehow.
oh, he totally could, especially with like how muddy the waters have gotten with the whole. Is he going to get the contracts he want? Is he
Yeah.
not? Like, is he in on this whole murder thing? Is it just Abe slash Forest Phantom slash who knows what else? But yeah,
Oh,
you guys
that
want to talk
scene
about
with that
Abe?
cat. Yeah, creepy. Gave me the creeps.
Don't like.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no, no. Do we all think that he's the Forest Phantom?
He's 1,000% the Forest Phantom. If
He
he's
has to
not
be,
the
right?
Forest Phantom, it makes no sense.
Yeah, that was my thought too. Um, I don't know where he got that saddle. I don't know like what his plan was. Like, do we think that he was going to try to just totally kill Lachlan in that moment before Lark showed up? Was he just gonna like
Yeah.
kidnap him, Lachlan nap him?
Also, I love that Lachlan was like so sus of him, and then he was like, "Am I paranoid?" But no, he's just awful.
Yeah, now is not the time that I need Lachlan to be considering if his like hyper vigilance is paranoia and if he should back off. Like, oh buddy, no, you've kept it up for this long. Like, I know you don't know what's coming for you, but something's coming for you.
It was also interesting because I feel like Abe and Lark kind of bonded. Like, I feel like there was a
Mhm.
moment where he took a step back and was like, "Oh, maybe I don't want to kill this one," and maybe it's in my head that he doesn't want to kill her now. But like, it was just a weird bonding moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I got like a sense of that there. Yeah. So I wonder if maybe that will change his plans or will he just still go through with it?
I also wondered in that moment, before that moment, did he know they were married? And like, I know he's been spying on everything that like Sloane and Rowan are doing. Has he been keeping as close tabs on Lachlan and Lark? Did he know that they were married? But then in that moment, even if he knew they were married, did he realize they have feelings for each other? So did he reassess his
Mm.
like assessment of the situation and say there might be another way that I can mess with the people that I have to get back at? And I don't know because we haven't heard from him again, but
Yeah.
something definitely happened in that moment, Elena. I think you're right. And I'm not sure what it was, but maybe it's a hey, you know who would be easier to kidnap, even just for sheer body weight purposes? This one. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Um,
if he knows that they have feelings for each other, just that he knows that Lachlan likes Clark. A lot of L's. Sorry, alliteration.
So many L's.
loves Lark.
Loves. I'm sorry, I correct myself. Loves.
I definitely love
Talking
you too.
about what's it called? Oh, conspiracy theories. I feel like last episode, Brooke, you were talking about how you thought Leander was gonna be the Phantom, and we're like, because also talking about how we don't know if the Phantom's the one that's killing Lark's family members. Which, like, we still don't. Well, now we know that Leander's not the Phantom, but I guess we still don't know if the Phantom's the one that's killing Lark's family members. And what was weird to me is Lark's sister's missing husband. The husband that they keep mentioning that's just like away in California doing his own thing.
I didn't catch that.
I
I
didn't
did not
either.
catch that he's been missing.
Well,
I just
'cause she
remember that Ethel just thought he was boring. Like their relationship was boring. Is all I remember.
yeah, and like I think Ava lives in like California or somewhere and she's just home visiting and just like very conveniently around all the time. And like I think Lark mentions at some point she thought she was going to go home, but then she didn't go home and I don't know. It just seems very convenient that her sister's there and has a missing husband that could be doing who knows what.
Ooh. So is that a theory that he could be the Phantom Killer?
Oh, I was gonna say he sounds super dead to
Or
me.
or maybe she's behind all the murders, like the family murders. And
Ooh,
she
that's
killed
a good
and she
theory.
killed her husband.
That's a good theory because there is like we haven't seen tension between the sisters, but it doesn't seem like they're that close. And also like
Mhm.
Ethel did that weird thing where she gave Lark her ring instead of the older sister and Lark was like, "Oh, that's going to be weird." It's just I don't know. It felt like there could be a dynamic there where like why is this girl here and while her husband's like gone, is her husband like secretly killing the family members in the background like under the assumption that it's not the Phantom, which I think could be a good theory. It's just the question is then who?
Yeah, I think that's a really good read because they have set up a lot of tension between Ava and Lark. Um, God, I don't know if it would be her husband that's the Phantom Killer, but it does make me wonder if he has now been phantomed though, or like taken and will be phantomed and like his head presented in a box on like the 40-day mark because they haven't like actually lost someone that they're close to. It's just been like people on the periphery of their empires. Wow.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think her husband is the Phantom because I think we're pretty confident that the Phantom is Abe, and I think we would have heard something about her husband being interesting. Like it seems like one Abe is from the South, like they seem to be putting like
Yeah,
setting
he
that
said
up,
he
and
was
then
from Texas.
yeah, and there haven't been any weird like, and Abe's husband is really religious.
Yeah, I think that Abe and the Phantom are the same people because the Phantom has some very religious overtones in the things that he says. So I think they're the same people. And honestly, like the Phantom can just like put on a Texas accent. Like that wouldn't be that hard. Um, but yeah, I honestly, so it can't be Ava's husband who is Abe because Lark would have recognized him when she met him. So they're definitely not all three the same people. And if we think that Abe and the Phantom are the same people, then it's probably not Ava's husband, which means that dude is probably already dead or in a cage somewhere, which is that's unfortunate for him.
No, or like I genuinely like the idea that Ava's the one that's murdering the family members because I just feel like they keep being
I
like,
liked
and we don't know why Ava's been here for so long. Like that's
It's
I think it's
true.
come up once or twice where like, oh, she was supposed to leave by now. She's hanging like I don't
So
know.
you're trying to think, is Ava the Phantom? And
Well,
potentially
no.
Abe is not.
and Lark
Well,
even
they're two different
says,
people.
yeah, they're two different people.
Okay.
And Lark even says at one point, like when like she brings Lachlan in, she was like, and I've been waiting for Ava's like serial killer tendencies to like show their head. It's like she has a comment like that in there.
She does. Yeah. So, okay. So you're proposing that the Phantom, the Forest Phantom, and the person that is killing people that are connected to Lark's family are two different people. and
They could
potentially
be,
that
yeah.
Ava is the one that's killing the people that are connected to her family. What would be her MO? Like,
Probably the
Jealousy?
business. Yeah. She's the older sister. She doesn't get the Montague muffins. Larks gets it instead by Ethel.
but she wouldn't have known that ahead of time. Like, she wouldn't have known that when she started killing them. So is it just like Ethel getting older and her like reading the writing on the wall? I don't know. I love this theory.
I don't know.
Goodness.
Or the Phantom could be killing them. It's just I know last episode we had talked about how that seemed almost too easy.
It
Odd that
does. Yeah.
it's just odd that like the murders in like Lark's fan or the business is happening on both sides. You know, it's not just the Kovaci or the Montagues.
Also, when we get the flashback, because we finally found out what the times are, like what the times that Lark kept repeating were,
Mhm.
that it was when her dad died. Do we get where her sister is? Like, is her sister in the closet with her?
Yeah, and they were told to stay in until 7. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either. I kept trying to figure out how it was part of what happened to her at school. And then I was like, oh yeah, like that makes sense. I think my brain had just assumed that her dad died of like a illness or something.
Yeah, so would I, because they hadn't like specified, like they hadn't alluded to anything else.
Yeah, so I just assumed, which was silly of me. But yeah, when she gives the whole story that it was a break-in, just so traumatic. Sad. But I'm glad that she is finally talking to people. She has that moment where she was like, I don't even tell Sloane this stuff. And like, somehow I feel comfortable telling Lachlan. And like, oh, what does that mean? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never read a romance novel before. I couldn't tell you.
No, but she does start opening up to Sloane, like when Sloane's like, I see you. That there's 100% chance that was you, right? And Lark was like, we could talk sometime.
I love that.
Yeah, I really loved that because I was convinced that Sloane knew when she mentions it the first time. What does she mention it to Lachlan? Like when she's talking to Lachlan and Rowan, she
Yeah.
mentions the
Like it
fireworks and she
wasn't
was like,
confirmed, but she had like an inkling she was involved.
yeah, yeah. She was like, it seemed kind of coincidental and like would have been really cool if it was her. And I'm glad that
Yeah.
she said something. Because yeah, it's like Sloane is, I think, now very confident in who she is, and I think kind of realized like, oh wow, like my best friend might have this piece of her that she doesn't feel confident talking about, and I'm going to at least put myself out there to say, hey, if that might have been you, cool, would love to swap notes. Yeah. So it seems like everyone is going to know about Lark's multiple deletion hobby, which I'm happy about. Um, yeah, she can be herself with all of her glitter. So cute.
For-
Did anybody? Oh yeah. What?
oh,
What
I
was
was
it?
gonna say, does the crafting speak to you?
It does. It does. I feel like I could have been a multiple deleter in like a version of my life if I wasn't so opposed to violence and sharp objects. Because
And
I have
blood.
to say, well, right, yeah, it just like, and I appreciate, like, I, you know, this is all fiction. I love the reasons that like Larkin, Sloane, and Rowan do what they do, and like it's all in good fun. And I was really glad that Lachlan showed her how much he loves her by setting up that deletion for her. But the minute she took out that needle and thread, I was like, I know what's coming and I don't want to be here for it, but at the very least that's all that it was. I was like, can we yes, short and simple. Okay, good, good. He's dead now.
Oh, but the last line she says was so good. So badass.
Remind us, Jamie.
I have a bad memory. It was like something like you never said anything and now you never will, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because you never spoke up. Yeah.
Yeah, the symbolism of um suturing his lips shut when he refused to do anything with multiple teachers, professors like coming to him and saying like this guy seems really bad, like he's doing something to like the students, I think, and he ignored every single one of them. Just an awful coward that needed to learn a lesson. I know we talked about Leander a little bit. How are you guys feeling about him? Like, did you think that the meeting with him, like, did that go the way that you thought it would?
I'm trying to think.
I was nervous.
Yeah.
For basically the whole meeting because he's very crazy, and I appreciated how much Lachlan was just like, stay behind me. You need to be on your guard. If he orders pizza, we're getting out of there. Like, I loved that whole thing. But I personally, like I said earlier, I feel like I'm still on the fence about like where he is on the good evil spectrum. Um, but did like his reaction to the muffins, or like the fact that he didn't do anything super awful in that meeting, like even when like the terms that he had agreed to were not met by Lark and Lachlan, like do we still feel the same way about him that we did in his darts scene? Do we think that he might be more of an okay person? Definitely not good.
Maybe he won't die by the end of the book, but like I don't know. I think there is a chance where they just are like, and here's the deal, and then he's like, sounds great, and he lets Lachlan go. Like, I guess that could happen. It's not outside the realm, but I could also see a possibility where they kill him. So like TBD.
Also, do we think that it's possible if the person killing the Montague, and Jamie, you keep saying it, and I don't know what it is about that one last name that I just cannot, I can't,
What?
it won't. Her Lark's stepfather's like
Kovachi.
Kovaci, thank you. I don't know what it is about that last name because I think it's cool. It just will not, the minute it's in my brain, it just right out, just
Just the
slips like
audiobook.
butter. That's true.
One thing that came in hand.
Yeah, hearing it I'm sure helps like drill it in. So if we are thinking that the Forest Phantom is not the one killing the random people in Lark's families, do we think that there is a possibility that it is Leander? And is it possible that it is him exacting revenge for their decision to get rid of Leviathan's contract?
I don't think so.
He's
That
just like
feels
a
like,
big crazy red herring.
yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know. I mean, it could be, but that's not my top theory.
I'm looking for Davids everywhere. Like I'm trying to like they
Yeah.
got past me in the first book and now I'm like where's the crazy guy? How many crazy guys are there? Is there a crazy girl? I don't know.
Are you saying if there was a random lobotomized manservant in this book, you'd be like, I see you?
You're not lobotomized. You just like eating ice cream that's made from not milk.
It was the muffins the whole time.
It was the muffins the whole time. Oh my
No, if
goodness.
anything, it really made me appreciate like Lark in that scene because she's putting herself out there and showing like her own strength
Oh yeah.
in that, and not letting like someone else protect her, like she's had that she had felt that other people had to protect her whole life.
Yeah, and I mean, she goes into that scene, right? Like she's just said, like, I don't know how to do this job. And then immediately she's like, well, I have to do this job, so I'm going to do this job. And she does a great job doing the job. Like,
Hmm.
Also,
Yeah.
I love how she knew the muffins were drugged because I was like, "Oh, my girl's not gonna realize," and then she 100% knew, and Lachlan was like, "You knew?" And she was like, "It seemed likely."
Yeah, she didn't 100% know. That's why she didn't say anything. But I think she was like at 98.5.
Yeah.
Which I did not catch at all. Like Ethel being like, "Don't eat them on the way there." I thought it was just like I promised him 15 muffins
Wait,
exactly.
you didn't? I feel like that's
No,
like a classic Brooke thing to catch.
had no idea. I genuinely thought it was because like I mean, this guy is like batshit crazy. So like you don't want to overstep or anything. Like, and Ethel knows sort of like what the real situation is. So I thought she was just saying like, do not like don't have this guy like come at you because he was like, I ordered a baker's dozen and they're only not like, so I thought she was trying to protect her. Never for a second thought it was because she drugged them. And I was just like, oh my goodness, I love this old woman. She's so great.
I
Oh
don't know
my
if I
god.
caught it either, to be
No.
honest.
I 100% caught it, and I was like, Lachlan's gonna eat a muffin like a goddamn idiot, and she's gonna have to like call her aunt and be like, "How do I undo whatever the poison is?"
That was honestly the
Because like
second funniest part was Lachlan being like, were you just gonna like let me eat one? And she's like, no, I knew you wouldn't.
I think in my mind I didn't think that like they were like poisoned or anything like that, just that maybe like there was something in it because I think we had initially guessed that like there was some kind of smuggling with muffins involved, you know? But
There
you
was
know who would like
another mention of that like
oh
the
really?
muffin business is darker than just muffins. And I was like, what is there like what else? What do they
Yeah.
just smuggle drugs? Is it like, oh
That's what I'm
surprise?
thinking. Yeah. But you know who like would match the craziness of Leander and how he kills? Lark. So wouldn't it be like so good if Lark ends him?
Oh yeah. Like would Leander in like a sick and twisted way kind of like enjoy his own death because he's like, wow, this is really messed up. Like hats off to you.
Like imagine if it was him on the end of that fireworks.
Yeah, that there would be a piece of him that was just like, you know what? Props. Yeah.
If this is the way I have to go, this is it.
Yeah. I mean, I anticipate Lark ending the Forest Phantom. That's my guess at this point. I think that like Sloane and
Or
Rowan might come in to help, but I think because like this is Lark and Laughlin's book and they will be the one to take him out.
or do you think it will drag on and we'll see the Phantom Killer again in the third book?
I don't know. I think it would depend on the circumstances. Like if he got away in a believable way, I'd be okay with it. But I also just have no idea what to expect from the third book. Like even with Rose and Fian, like I have no.
Lena, you almost gave me a heart attack because I thought you like looked ahead.
She's like, I've read the last 2 pages. This is
Yeah.
what goes down.
Oh no, guys, the last chapter says Phantom again.
He's still alive.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Oh no.
I was just skimming chapter 19.
You mean the next chapter?
Listen, I was like, "Ooh, is there gonna be anything to live read?" But the live read, there's not. No comment.
Because it's inappropriate?
We've
No.
already said, oh no. Oh, I no more. Nothing. I want nothing else from you. Those were all of the topics that I had. I don't know if you guys thought of anything else, any other scenes or moments. No.
Nope.
That I'm loving
Awesome.
Lachlan, like all those glasses moments. I know I keep mentioning, but I just love it so much. And him blushing, can't get enough.
He is such a great combination of, yeah, just like it's easy to make him uncomfortable, but then just like the thoughts that go through that boy's mind, I'm just like, oh goodness, what are the next few chapters going to be like? Which reminded me of another one of my favorite scenes, which I have to give a quick shout out to. But the moment right before they go backstage for Lark's concert, and she says that, I think something along the lines of, yeah, like you can just go right through the back, and he just does the like, what, what do you, sorry, and then just like
So cute.
her razzing him about like, oh, who
Like
knew?
playing dumb, and
Yeah, but
she
loving
knew
every
the whole
minute of it.
time. Hmm.
Just like, oh, who knew Lachlan Kane was an ass man? And I was just like, you are being very bold, ma'am. Like
Like
this poor boy.
I'm pretty sure that's when I fell in love with Lark in that moment.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see who she really is, because what we've learned in this book is that she's not herself with anyone. Like even herself, like um she hides something from everyone, and I'm very excited to see this like true form of Lark, because I think that it's going to be just the most beautiful but also like very twisted person, and I can't wait. Can't wait to meet
Me
her.
too.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's it for this section. We are wrapping up the book, so we are gonna finish the whole thing for next episode. So if you haven't read chapter 19, go read it right now, because I think that's what all the rest of us are gonna do. And then we'll meet back and talk about what happens at the ending of this book. Do we find out who the Forest Phantom is? Does he or she die? Are they the same person as the person that's killing all of the members of Lark's family's empire? We have no idea. What I do know is that there is going to be some spice, for sure, for definite sure. And I can't wait to see how these guys fall in love for realsies. So join us next time for the end of this awesome book. Thanks, guys. Bye.